What's up, everyone? It's Cannan back with another RWBY video. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about the new RWBY movie coming. That is still a crossover with Justice League, just like the comic. Jess is not going to be in this video because she picked today of all days to color her hair. Sorry if my hair looks a little wet. Just got out of the shower. First, I want to start off things by thanking everyone who watched the What If Part 1 of Yang being a Saiyan. It done better than I thought it would. I'm going to try and do a new part every week if work doesn't get in the way. Which that could possibly happen. So if we go a week where I don't put a new part out, it's because work got in the way, or I was just too tired to do it, or didn't have time to really sit down and think out the plot. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do a new episode every week. So I don't want this to be a super long video. Our power went out last night, so this is a video that should be up already, but it's not. So yeah. So Justice League, the full title is Justice League X RWBY Superheroes and Huntsmen Part 1. Long title. I actually kind of like it. I think it sounds cool. I was kind of shocked that it's going to be in multiple parts. More than likely, I think it has been confirmed it's going to be in 2 parts, which is not surprising because a lot of the big DC animated features, like The Dark Knight Returns, were 2-parters. So not much information has come out since the announcement at RTX. We do know now that it is going to be sadly direct to video, which really is not surprising because all of DC's animated features are all direct to video. I don't think any of them have premiered in theaters. I'm sure there's some theaters that may show them because they are good movies. They are very good movies. You can slam the DC universe movies all you want, but their animation department has always cranked out great content. Some hit or misses here and there, but I'll always say that Batman the Animated Series is still to this day one of the best cartoons ever made. Not to say Marvel hasn't had theirs as well. You know, they've had the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon or animated series, X-Men the animated series, but after those two here recently, there just hasn't been that many. Like, comic book fans have always said that DC kind of trumps Marvel in the animation department in a lot of ways. So I was shocked by this. Like, when it was announced that there was going to be a RWBY movie, I was excited, and then when I saw it was going to be Justice League, I was at first a little concerned because I was like, are they just going to do a comic story? Because it would seem kind of counterproductive to make a movie about a comic that's already out. Now, of course, the Japanese, Japanese do that all the time with manga and anime and turning series into movies. But I don't know. It would have seemed like just taking a step back instead of putting a step forward. But they have come out and said that it is going to be an original story. It is not going to be the story from the comic. And please remember, as of right now, me and Jess have still not read the full RWBY and Justice League comic, and it's mostly because there's not many stores around us that still sell paper comics. And when it comes to stuff like that, I like to own them physically. I don't like doing it just digitally. So I'm mostly waiting on them to just release the comic in one book like they did the original RWBY DC comics. So hopefully they'll do that before I finally get a chance to actually read it. But I do know a little bit about the story. So as far as from the comic, so stuff we can expect probably in this. I'm really wondering what voice talent that they may bring in for the Justice League. Like, I would love the voice cast from the Justice League animated series to come back. Like, to me, Kevin Conroy will always be Batman. He is the best Batman ever. So, of course, I would love him in this, but who knows? So, of course, I believe RWBY are the ones doing the actual animation and all that for the film. I don't know if there are partners in writing. I don't know if maybe if Carrie and them are handling the RWBY side of things as far as the story goes, where DC and Warner Brothers do the DC part. It is listed that DC Studios and all them are involved in this, so uh, take that for what you will. Um, so yeah, voice talent I'm very curious about. Of course, Lindsay, Kara, Aaron, and Barbara will all be in it, but who is going to be voicing the Justice League? That is now, of course, if Kevin Conroy's not Batman, I won't worry about it. But and it's interesting how they were able to, even though I've not read the comics, I know information from them. Plus the RWBY and Justice League comic had a ton of Bumblebee moments, so of course I was looking for those. But it was really interesting how they did things. Turning Batman into a faunus. That was interesting. Of course, Aquaman is a faunus. From what I've read, though, Cyborg was kind of the same. Just that they turned him into, he's originally from Atlas. They did a really interesting thing with Wonder Woman, kind of, keeping Wonder Woman's story about how she was given life and all that. And of course, Superman, his semblance is gaining power from the sun. Though they did change it a little bit to where his powers do not work at night, where in the original DC Superman, his powers work during night because I think he stores the energy. Whereas Remnant's version does not. From what I've read, the only one who was kind of still based around original DC was Green Lantern. She's still part of the Green Lantern Corps, and she was put in charge of keeping the part of the universe where Remnant is safe. But apparently, when she did arrive on Remnant, she did receive a semblance, but we still don't know it. So apparently, I think her name's Jess. I think this is the Jessica Cruz version of Green Lantern. She is like second strongest next to Superman out of the Justice League. So that's really interesting that they kind of kept the Green Lantern Corps in this version. Which the Green Lantern Corps, they could exist in any timeline, really. Like they could be in our world for all we know. There could be something like the Green Lantern Corps out there in space. Now, of course, the reaction to this has been kind of 50-50. There are people who are excited for it. Me and Jess are excited for it because who would have known back during Volume 1 that RWBY would get a film, Now, I do wish it was in theaters. I have a feeling if it was just strictly a RWBY movie, maybe. But like I said, DC puts all of their animated feature films on direct to video, so there's that. But me and Jess will be reviewing it. We'll get it as soon as it comes out. Because it's not supposed to come out till next year. We'll definitely react to trailers and all that when they do come out. It's going to be interesting. Like, I'm guessing they're going to be using. I'm guessing it's going to look like Volume 9 at this point. They'll be using the same thing. Now, speaking of Volume 9, of course, like I said, the fan reaction has been very 50-50. There's people who are excited for it, and then there are people who are just like, nobody asked for this and all that. But I mean, DC crossovers at this point are very common. I mean, there's been, Batman and the Ninja Turtles. There's been crossovers with the Power Rangers. There's been crossovers with almost anything at this point. There was, Batman versus Dracula. There was Batman versus Predator, even. There was even a comic, I believe it was Batman Superman with Predator, Alien, and Terminator. I mean, there's been DC crossovers for as long as they've existed, really. So when they did a crossover with RWBY in comic form, I'm not really shocked that a film came out of it because, like I said, DC does crossovers with everybody. If you've not seen Batman versus the Ninja Turtles, go watch that. It's amazing. I loved it. Because two of my favorite things as a small child were Batman and the Ninja Turtles. My first ever spoken sentence was the Mutant Ninja Turtles will be right back. You know, that was my first full sentence as a child. So yes, I loved the Ninja Turtles. I still love the Ninja Turtles. Anytime I meet someone who can't name all four turtles, I'm shocked. Um, but I don't know, like I guess I just have so much respect for RWBY that I'm not gonna diss their work before I even see it. I find that kind of I don't know. I don't know. I just find I'm indifferent to seeing people already dissing the movie when it's not even out yet. Like RWBY's working hard on it, and you're already putting down their hard work they're putting into it. Now, of course, I do understand people worried about crunch because they're working on Volume 9, they're working on this movie, and I'm guessing Rooster Teeth is working on the cutscenes for Arrowfell. But members of RWBY have already come out and said no, they are not crunching. They do not do that anymore. And really, as far as Volume 9 goes, I mean, we know when we're getting it. It's early next year. I'm guessing January. And I don't know. Like, to me, I think Volume 9 is basically done at this moment. Like, it's been almost 2 years since Volume 8. And since this is supposed to be a shorter volume, if they're not done with it, or at least almost done with it, I don't know. But I just don't think they would take on a video game, the dubbing for Ice Queendom, and a movie if they didn't have open open moments for it. Then of course you can get to a whole argument, you know, that's what overtime is for. You get paid more for overtime, you know, it's optional, blah blah blah. But we're not getting into that. That is completely a different video all on its own. But I'm excited for this because I know it's probably something that was talked about forever. Like, you know, what if this show gets big enough to where it'll have a movie? I'm sure Carrie, Miles, and everyone else who have been there since day one are excited about this. Because, you know, who would have thought a web series that literally just, it was an original work, and usually not like it's 50-50 if it's going to be a hit or if it's going to be gone within a few episodes. And it's really been fun to watch RWBY grow from, like I said, just a web series into a cultural thing. Like, you know, like it's known worldwide. I mean, who ever thought this timeline would exist? We're going into Volume 9, aka a Season 9. We've got manga, we've got video games, we've got an actual traditionally animated anime that's airing right now. Still not watched Ice Queen. Still waiting on the English dub. I hope they get it done soon because I think Ice Queen is on like episode 7 or 8 out of 12, so it's nearing its conclusion. Still no word if we'll get a season 2 or anything. I kind of hope we do. But but yeah, we've got an anime. And now we've got a movie. I'm happy for RWBY. I'm happy for RWBY as a series because never in my wildest dreams I think this would happen. Um, and so yeah, like I'm happy for it. I can't wait to see what actually happens. I'm wondering what villain they'll pull from DC to be in this one because I believe the villain in the comics was Starro, which is a giant alien starfish, who does exist in DC. Starro is a legit villain from the DC comics. Um, I think it's more or less more of a Green Lantern villain. But yeah, Starro does exist in the DC universe. So I'm wondering who they'll use because I know there's a lot of people who want them to use like a very well known villain. Like I'm sure there's been people who saying, "Oh, I want to see Team RWBY go up against the Joker or Lex Luthor or something like that." I know Jess I think is hoping that somehow a Harley Quinn inspired character will show up in these DC crossovers, but I prefer it when they use lesser known villains because there's a ton of comic villains out there that just are not used a lot. And I think a lot of them would benefit from being used in the world of RWBY. like one of my favorite Batman villains. He's kind of well known, but he's not used as much as I'd like him to be, and that's Scarecrow. Could you imagine Scarecrow using fear toxin on Team RWBY? Because we already know kind of the stuff that Team RWBY do fear, but it would, it would just be interesting. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I just want to do a quick video about the movie, giving my thoughts on it, reacting a little bit to how the fandom has reacted to it. Um, because there's just not that much info known yet. We don't have a trailer. We don't really even have a full plot synopsis for it. We just know that it's an original story. It's not the story from the comic. It's going to feature pretty much the same Justice League that was in the comics: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, and all that. Of course, Team RWBY will be in it. But yeah, I'm just really excited for it, because the DC animated films are always usually really good. Would I've liked partly for DC to have animated it just to see Team RWBY in a different animation style? Yeah, you always kind of hope for that because it's different. I think that's one reason why I was excited for Ice Queen, because getting to see Team RWBY in traditional anime format was intriguing. But Kirby will knock it out of the park, I'm sure, as far as animating it goes. I'm really interested to see how the Justice League are used in it, because it's one thing seeing them in the comic and then another thing seeing them actually animated. And of course, like I said, I can't wait to see what villain they use, and I can't wait to see the voice actors the voice talent that may come back to voice the Justice League. Like I said, if they could get at least some of the ones who voiced the Justice League from the anime series, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, maybe even the Flash, I would love that. um, but anyway, guys, I'm going to end it there. This is a little quick video talking about the RWBY Justice League film because me and Jess had not done a video about it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments about what you think of it. Are you excited for it? Do you think it's a waste? Blah, blah, blah. Are you just wanting Volume 9? Trust me, guys, I want Volume 9 as much as anybody. But we know when it's coming out. We know what time to expect it. So between now and January, like I said, I'm guessing it's going to be January, but between now and then, let's enjoy this extra RWBY content that we may not have, it's better than having nothing at all. That's what I'm trying to get to. So yeah, between this, Ice Queendom, and Arafel, it's going to be really interesting to see how things go, especially after Volume 9 starts airing, because, this doesn't come out until next year. So let's see how it goes. I would love for the film to be ready by the time maybe Volume 9 is done airing. That way we have something else. But yeah, as always, guys, this is Canaan. Me and Just love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.